Mai ngā awa ki ngā moana, ki te whenua, ki ngā kāinga, ki ngā tāngata. Tai atu ki ngā tihitapu o ngā maunga. Tēnei, a pukepuke rau, puke rau, puke rau. I ngā mana, i ngā reo rauranga tirama, tēnā rā koutou katoa, nau mai hara mai ki tēnei hōtaka, he pukepuke rau. I te rā nei, nā te mea ko tēnei te rā maumahara ki wā tātou nei tūpuna ngā hoia i mate ai roto i ngā pakanga o te ao. He whakaaturanga motuhake tēnei e hoki ai ki tētahi o ngā whakaaturanga i pāpāhotia i roto i tērā tau ko pahure ki runga i te marae o Otiria. Nā te mea ko Otiria te tino marae ki roto o Ngāti Hine e maumahara ana ki te 28 ngā hoia nā te tūnga mai o tō rātou nei whare o Tumatauenga. Nō reira i te rānei, koe rā ko te kōrero, rā te marae o Otiria, ki runga i a Pukepuke Rau. Koe nau mai, hoki mai ki tēnei hōtaka o Pukepuke Rau. Tēnei wā, it's my pleasure to welcome to the show Mike Butler, who is the co-chairperson of Otiria Marae. Whātu te rākau ki aia, and he can do his pepeha, introduce himself. Kia ora, Mike.
Ai, tēnā koe o ho, te ana.
Ai, pai ana, pai mutunga.
Tēnā koe te whānau. Te riri i tere waihara keke te aua, ate ko pake Ngāti te ara hapu ririki, Ngāti Hine te iwi.
Kia ora. Okay, so we're talking about Otiria Marae and finding out from different people from of that area some stories and kōrero and memories that they have growing up on that marae. So I'll start there. What's some of your fond memories of growing up on Otiria Marae?
Oh, beautiful memories. So, say for example, our kaumata and kuia of the past, our beautiful tōtara trees, the older generation have passed on. However, we still got quite a few of our whānau members, like the Davis whānau, mea the Heta whānau, or Betty Heta, mea Walter and June Few. June Few being one of the oldest of the trustees on board. I think it's approximately about 55 years she's been a trustee on the board.
Wow.
From the old kitchen, what used to be ground floor. It was all hands on deck. Me being a young fellow, I can remember serving the kai, which virtually had to be, about 6 foot high, into these little servery holes to be dished out into the tupuna kitiriki, the dining room. I can remember the kui is sitting in the left-hand side, inside Tumatauenga, way back in the days. Our kaumata was like Lou and Tana and Don Nawati and mea the Wiki whānau. Yeah, there was quite a few, the Cherrington whānau of the past that used to sit on our taumata. And then there's, I can remember that it was a massive gathering of people where whānau members would just bring in kai. And I could always remember Nana Kino and Elsie, Myra, and the rest of the ringawera at the back always make, fresh bread and homemade pickles and ready for the kai. Yeah, no, it was beautiful way back in the days. In a sense, you being young, you virtually had to find your niche in the back of the dining room because that's where everybody virtually started.
Yep. Speaking about starting, when was the marae opened or established?
So from what I got reason to believe, so Tumatauenga, I think it was 1944 to 1946.
Right.
And because at that time, from what I have reason to believe, when it was put into place, was actually the marae at that time and the meeting house for all meetings and everything. They used to have a dining room on the side called the pene kote. Yeah, I don't know why, but apparently that's the corridor that I've had.
No, kia ora.
Then the old whare paku on the side of it.
Yep.
And then later, when everything was all starting to get built and carved, and then Tumatauenga.
Yes, there's been quite a lot of mahi done at your marae, and because I've been to Otiria a number of occasions, and for many different reasons, because each time I've been, or as long as I can remember, the whare nui there is a carved whare nui.
Aye, the whare whakairo, aye.
Aye, so where were the carvers from, or carvers were all locals?
No. Well, some of them were, like Walter Few. Walter was actually one of the carvers for the marae.
Yeah.
I've got a fair idea, but I just don't want to get it wrong.
Okay, no, pai tēnā.
Yeah.
What was done to fund the new wharekai? It's been done up all nice and flash and stuff. So what sort of things were done to fund that?
Okay, so the trustees in the past, and we'd have to go to approximately about 50-odd years ago, had an idea of actually doing their fundraising for, so from what I got reason to believe, they had raffles and they had whānau get-togethers and all sorts, bingo housing nights and all that sort of things. From what I have reason to believe, there was a group, in a sense, like the youth committee, who would actually do fundraising. So some of them would actually fundraise for the stage, the younger ones.
Oh, yep.
So over the years, it had just been Puruwini Restoration Fund account had been started just for that, for Puruwini and the Punui Kitiriki. And so funds over the years had actually accumulated, and then we actually applied for the ASB and the lotteries funding to actually get that building up and running. The actual footprint of the building hasn't changed. It's just that it's just upgraded today to the modern sense where everyone can cook a kai. But in a sense, if you ever look at how everything's done today compared to what was in the past, it took all that whakawhanaungatanga away in a sense. And then were the days when you used to wash the dishes.
Yes.
And there'd be quite a few of us with the tea towels to wash the dishes. Where today you've got the new toy that's kicked in. It does the dishes within like 1 minute.
Yeah.
In a sense, it's taken all that. Yeah, we still get together when we're in the kouta, when we're prepping up kais and jazznap.
Pai tēnā. So what was in the past? Was it just the kouta or?
So in the past, the prep, where the kitchen is now, it used to be the prep room.
Okay.
So all the meat and jazznap was all cooked in the kouta. From what I got reason to believe, they used to have steam barrels. They used to have a boiler, and they had 6 wine barrel kegs. And the last wine barrel keg, so one will be utilised for meat, different type meats, vegetables, and all that jazz through the wine barrel kegs. And the last one would be utilised for hot water throughout for the old buildings. Then later on, out came the old diesel blower, which used to cook our hangis on the kouta way back in the days.
Right.
And then as that, that all got modified, and out come the old gas. So now we're using the old gas ring burners and some of the old appliances from the old kitchen, which is in the kouta, like the old ovens and jazznap, which we still use today.
Me paku whakatāi i aia neina, ka hoki mai ki wēnei kōrero rawera wātu amuri ake i ngā whakatairanga. Mautonu mai.
Aroha e kore mutu Kei konei au i ngā wā katoa Kataia e tāua tokorua Te hanga, te ara ora Ko koe ko au mea tāua uri e Ko koe ko au hoa tāua tawa uri e ake tonu e ko koe ko au. Mura mai toka no hi mo te korero ki au ki a tawa uri e ka taia e tawa tokorua te momotu te here ma te aroha i ngā rā katoa ko te aroha i te po i te au ko koe ko e a tawa uri e ko koe ko a tawa uri e a ke tonu e ko koe ko au ko koe ko au ko koe ko au a ke tonu e ko koe ko au.
Ka hoki atu ki ngā kōrero ki Wainganui a Māua ko Mike Butler. E kōrero ana e pāna ki ōna whakatupuranga ki runga i te marae o Otiria. Ka pai, so as I mentioned, you're a co-chairperson yourself as well as Dolly Baker. So what's some of the challenges being a co-chairperson for such a progressive marae, I guess, and what sort of mahi do you do to maintain the marae?
Okay, so from my end, I'm the co-chair. I do as between myself and quite a few other trustees, we do a lot of maintenance work. We do a lot of working bees. Always try and make sure that our buildings are all maintained and up to scratch. So from the old kitchen of the past to today, mate, we have to adhere to LAW.
All right.
Some of those LAWs is the Far North District Council, and plus, for example, all maraes that are getting rebuilt have to have a code of compliance.
That's
for
right.
Building water fitness,
Ai, tika.
LCC certification, if they go more than, I think it's 12, 45 kg gas bottles. Insurance is always a necessity, but however, the insurance companies today, our excess for our marae is $10,000 excess, so it's hard. It's hard. So we try and have wānangas and raffles and come out to a queer nights, you know, for dinner fundraising ventures and just to try and make ends meet.
Sure.
Yeah, but it's more or less the LAW scene that's hurting us the most.
I've experienced that with our own marae with code of compliances and stuff like that and maintenance and
Yeah,
big mahi.
Yep. It is.
Speaking of big mahi, one of the most popular things that happens at Otiria Marae over the years, and as far as I can remember, is the Ngāti Hine Festival, the Ahuareko Ngāti Hine Festival.
Oh, mate, that's beautiful.
Kōrero mai,
So,
yes.
Te Ahureka Festival is a beautiful kaupapa that's been set down, and it's also beautiful to see that whānau members come home from overseas to attend that beautiful festival. The outlook of it is always a theme of some sort, some form. Te reo o Ngāti Hine would be one of them, or, you know, but yeah, it's haka, you know, for our rangatahi, for our schools, little competitions, bands. No, it's always good to have, and the good thing about it is to actually see whānau members come home, because there's some of them that we've not seen for a very long time. Yeah.
And on a good occasion.
Beautiful, yes.
How did that get started at Otiria Marae? I haven't seen the Ngāti Hine Festival be hosted by anybody else, really, other than Otiria Marae. Is there kaupapa behind that?
Well, only at the present moment, because all our... I recently, the Te Ahureka Festival committee would love to spread the love. For me, for Otiria Marae, Only because probably we've got a stage and, the resources of three
Right.
phase and all that jazz.
Kia
But
ora.
it's not to say that we could not have it at a different marae.
Right.
Yeah, it's just that probably just need a bit more planning. They need a bit more planning to try and, to head towards other maraes.
Kia ora.
Yeah.
That makes sense because you don't really come across many marae with stages, so
Even then, we've been informed that we have to increase our stage size. So, hey, we'll get there. We'll get there.
No, ka pai. So, within your hapu, who is some of the, either kuia kaumātua, someone who's passed, someone who's still alive, someone that you kind of look up to within your people?
Oh, so our loved ones that have passed on, Tamati Brown, Blue Tana, my uncle Taki Cherrington, because that's the last of my, Taki Cherrington, that's the last of my bloodline, of all his siblings. Also look up to Uncle Walter, Auntie June. Yeah.
No, ka pai. I know that some people can sometimes not be too giving or sharing in terms of kōrero about the place, whether it be a little bit of history, but is there some stories that you could share?
So from what I reason believe, Tumatauenga is the meaning of the whakaro behind that is to represent the 28th Māori Battalion who came home from overseas. I also have reason to believe that the carvings are to represent whare whakairos inside are to represent the 5 iwis. The puni kitiriki is the gathering of elders, hence the reason why the naming of the dining room and the kitchen area.
Kia ora.
Purawini, well, we all know what Purawini means for us. It's actually the province. In a sense, our tupuna of the past had actually made that a courthouse way back in the days. From what I have reason to believe, there was also a set of laws that was already put in place for Purawini. So, yeah, that's the basis of what I know.
And just finally, is there any kupu or words you want to share with your whānau that are listening at the moment?
But at this point of time, whānau, with this COVID, level 3 and level 2, look after ourselves, look after our bubbles, look after our beautiful children of today who are our future of tomorrow. Whānau, our maraes, Ngāti Hine Marae, I ask that we, the older generation, try and get our younger generation to come back to our maraes more often. So a fine example of our huumate that we had yesterday. A fine example of that is, the majority of family members are actually saying that they can only come home in regards to huimates. As I said to the whānau yesterday, it is wise if you can bring your whānau home to actually have wānangas, so you know about your marae, you know who you come from, you know where you come from, and mainly what the marae is really about. It's about the people, it's about whakawhanangatanga, it's about awhing, manaking, which is a beautiful world that we live in today. And if we can practice all those things at the marae, take it home and still keep practicing it, it'd be a beautiful world for us as Māori.
Tautoko i o kōrero there, Mike. Oh, well, e mihi ana kia koe. Thank you for joining us on the show today, and it's a pleasure to find out more and some of the struggles and some of the highs and lows, the benefits for our people. Now, kia ora. Nau mai hoki mai ki tēnei hōtaka o Pukepuke Rau. I tēnei wā e kōrero ana hau ki tētahi o mātou ake, kaimahi, kaipāpāho, i konei te reo irirangi, ara ko Hawaii ki henare. E kōrero ana māua e pānaki tōna marae o Otiria. I tēnei wā no reira ka hoatio te rākau kōrero ki aia, mana e whakamohio atu no hea, pōwai, no reira tēnā koe Hawaii.
Kia ora, waiki hena re tōku ingoa. Ko Hikurangi te maunga ko tau maare re te awa. Ko ngā toki mata whāurua te waka, o Otiria te marae, ko Petereki te wharekai, ko Ngāti Hine te apu, ko ngā puhi te iwi, ko Pūhana hena re tōku māma, ko te au karunun tōku pāpā. Kia ora.
Kia ora, tēnā koe. Nā, wow, me kōrero ai tāua i runga i te kaupapa. Tō marae o Otiria. Ia koe e tupu ana i reira, he hanga mea rawe ki a koe ki te ai koe i reira i tō marae?
Well, ia au i tupu ake ana i reira, ko au, no hoki ko Whare, ko ia tōku kaihana hoa me ki. Ia te wai hare ana ki tēnā ngā marae, e ki tēnā i era momo rōpū kaihana, e kuro ana, e hātu ana, e awhi ana i roto i ngā kihini mera mea. Ko ia tērā mōku. No reira ko Tamaua mahi, ko te kuro kiringa i te papatū waiwai. Mena ka haere koe ki Otiria Marae, he papatū waiwai ki waho kiringa i te whenua. E reira ngā tamariki e tāhoro, ko tētahi o ngā tino kemu ko pusho. Koia, hei a koe, mena ka taka koe mai te papatū waiwai, kua puta koe. Koia te kemu o te wā. Ne ki tēnā tērā momo, ki tēnā o ngā marae, mena ka haere ki mototau, ko te kemu reira, ko ngā toka, ka tūkiroto i ngā pauaka e rua, nā ka ata kiki me ki te toka ki tērā o ngā taha. Koia ngā kemu rereki o e kanua marae.
Ai, mohu au tēnā kemu, i roto i te square.
Ai.
Che.
Koia te kemu. Ahua, pērāna, o ka kōrero no te mea, he hono ki tēnā o ngā marae, engari i tupu ki Otiria. No reira, ko tōku hono ki Otiria, ko tāku tino krani mā, ko Materoa he kingi ia, no reira ko tēnā tōku hono ki Ngāti Tiara, ara ko te marae o Otiria, and then ki Mototau, ko tōku krani pātera ki te taha o tōku māma, ko Pani Henare tēnā, no reira he hono ki Mototau, anō hoki he hono ki Waiomio, no te mea tōku krani mā he tautari no kona. Hono e rauahi katoa, engari i tupaki ki Otiria. Te oi, hoki atu ki Otiria Marae, te pū o te take. I tupaki mau i reira, tākuro i ringa ngā te papatū waiwai, anō hoki ngā parking stoppers, ko ia te papatākuro mo ngā tamariki. Peke mai tērā ki tērā, ngā kemu pērā ki te cheat, me ngā kemu katoa. And then, i te wā i mitu, te wā tākuro, i haere atu ki te kihini. I reira, awhi, antihira, me era tangata katoa, koia ngā tino pautoko mana mo te rau marae. Anō hoki ngā tino tangata e āhua look up to me ki, ngā idol. Mo tēnā o ngā marae, no te mea ko rātou, e upoko pakaru ana ia te wā he kaupapa ki te marae, ki roto i te kihiri. He reka te kai hoki me ki, like that was one of the big factors. And you could say, Otiria Marae, he standard tōna. If you go there, i roto i te kihini, it's always atahua.
Up to scratch.
Yeah, up to scratch, you know. Our whānau is all about, you know, decorating and having the tables laid out beautifully, and it's just atahua. Koia te kaupapa nui, it's like, i roto te kihini, me pai te kai, me pai hoki te āhua o te kai.
Kia ora.
Ko Māua tērā, ko Māua ko Baron tērā, i tupaki i roto i te kihini, e awhi ana antihira, Miley G, e tapahi cucumber ana mo te broccoli salad hea. E kai ana ngā fried breads, me nei mā katoa, e kai ana ngā kai katoa, see if it's good enough for the table.
Nā, kia ora, kia ora. Wow, he tino tūkau koe o te mara o hine amaru. No, kia ora. Ko te āhua reka o Ngāti Hine, tērā te tahi mahi tino nui ka tūkirunga i tō marae. No reira, kōrero mai, he hawe tahi o ngā ngā kaupapa o roto i tēnā?
Ahua prārahau of ahau anō me Whare no te mea.
Course.
Tamaraki tonu ana māua i umātou ki ngā hui o te marae, i awhina, o i ngana, te awhi i roto i ngā hui me ngā tino pakeke, and I was like, whoa, moment. Ko te mahi, he whakatū te wharekai mō ngā kaumatua kuia, he whakarite kai o roto i te kihini, he whakarite te whare whakairo mahi tāmoko, ano hoki te huaki te kuaha o proini, mō rātou e hehia te whakarongo ki ngā whakapapa me nana katoa. Me te pai hoki te ki te tēnā momo āhua, tēnā momo kaupapa e whakatū ana ki te marae rā o Otiria, te atāhua hoki. I tēnei te āhua reke katahi anō i pahure, i tūahau raua ko Whare hei MC, mo te wā tuatahi, nā o ngā kaupapa. He kaupapa whakahirahira anō hoki he kaupapa ahua whakamataku.
Ai.
Wā tuatahi anō hoki ko te wā tuatahi ki te kāinga. So, mōhio katoa ana i ngā whānau e mātakitaki ana e whakarongo ana. Kataka mai te wera, he oi, e ke kaupapa papai. He tino kairangitanga i te tū hei figure i roto i tō kāinga me ki.
Ai.
Like, to actually just be doing something is like, and your whānau gets to see that, was like, wow, that's really cool.
Yep. Nā, kia ora. Ko wai ngā tangata me ki i te wā ka haere kui ki tō marae, ia taima ko aua tangata orite e tū ana hei kai kōrero, e tū ana hei kai karanga, aua momo tūranga. Ko wai?
Ngā mate ki ngā mate haere koutou oki atu ai. Ko matua haki tētahi, i te wā e ora tonu ana ia. Anō hoki ko Uncle George, Owen, tētahi i te wā e ora tonu ana. Ia, he oi, e mate haere ana tēnā wahanga o te marae. He oi, ko Eli Smith tētahi, haere mai ana i tautoko ana te pai.
Che.
So, mihi ana kia koe Eli. Ko te kauri etahi wai ki te ana ia i kona. Ko tātai tētahi.
Kia ora.
E hāpai ana tēnei o ngā tūru. Ko Uncle Whare tētahi i te wā e ora tonu ana ia. Haere Uncle, haere. Anō hoki ko Auntie June tētahi e wepu ana i ngā waiata. Ko Auntie Rosie hoki me tōna tuahine. Ngā kaikaranga anō hoki ko tōku māma. Huti henare. Ko ia tētahi o ngā kaikaranga. Kona ia te wā mina kore whai kaikaranga. Ko ia tēnā e horo ana te maupanikosi o mātua ana. Nō reira ai.
E nui rawa ngā mahi ki runga i tō marae.
He nui ngā mahi.
Nō reira, hei whakakapi a tāua nei kōrero, Hawaii, hea wetahi kupu au ki a rātou o whanaunga e whakarongo mai ana.
Hoki mai ki tō marae, hoki mai hāpai tia i ngā wahanga me hāpai. Kia mōhio ki tau whakapapa.
Tērā te mea nui. Nā, che. Wau e mihi ana kia koe. Ki mo tō whai wāhi te kōrero mai ki runga i tēnei whakāturanga.
Kia ora.
Tēnā koe. Joining us on the show today is one of the whare of Otiria Marae, and I'm going to hand over the rako kōrero to her to introduce herself and say where she's from. So, tēnā koe whai June.
Tēnā koe Peter. I am June Few. I have been brought up around Otiria Marae all my life. I lived up basically up Ngā Pupito Valley. Purawini at that time was the name of Otiria Marae that we knew it as.
Oh.
But over the years, suddenly they changed it to Otiria Marae, the name, because I'm not sure whether it was because of Purawini Marae in Whangarei there.
Right.
Why people chose to keep it at Otiria Marae. And I suppose being the centre of the railway, Otiria railway station, that had something to do with it, because as far as I know it was built as a overnight stay for those travelling on the train back and forward from Hokianga, Kaitaia, because that's where they used to come down to catch the train to go to Auckland and Mairanoa. So from what I know, Whenakupa had a lot to do with that no kāinga for the night, for those that are travelling from Auckland back.
Yep.
And hence that was one of the reasons that I believe that Otiria Marae was built. Hence the change of the name, I'm not too sure, because as far as I know, it sort of just, happened that way, because it was like Purawini, where's Purawini, or is it at Otiria? So it adopted more the name Otiria Marae. And I have been involved with it since 1950, when it opened, Tumatauenga. That's probably when I started to work up there. Hence, still there. That's my involvement with the marae. Over the years, I was a Maori warden there. I was on the Māori committee and the ladies committee, and then later became a trustee, and I am still a trustee. Oh, it's like second home. Love to be there when there's anything on, and try my utmost to be awhi to the whānau that use it so far.
Oh, and you know what? It's huge mahi, just being a trustee. I know that involves quite a lot of things, looking after the marae. So where do you usually go when you go to the marae? Are you, say if it's in a hui mate, do you go straight to put on a pane koti and go and grab some leaves and do the karanga, or are you straight grab a tea towel and go to the kitchen?
No, my comfort area is the kitchen, and has always been. I suppose it's just recently that, my husband's going on for 83 and I'm 80, and I feel that because he's getting older and he's usually over in Wharehui, I feel that, I'm a bit responsible for being support for him. Although I don't feel that I'm ready to stay in the Wharehui, I still am passionate about being in the kitchen.
Ka pai, no wonder every time I've been there and I have I've had a few kais there many times on many occasions and also always beautiful fire, so it must be ngā kokoe.
Oh. Well, it's like sort of growing up, having so much to do with it. And I used to love working with Pere Davis, Pere and Mere, who was, sort of in the kitchen all the time. That's Ngahau. Do you know Ngahau?
Davis?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, their dad. I worked in his team all the time. Just loved it because I'm passionate about cooking. So I've been there, since. And during the earlier years, we used to have a lot of whānau groups or school groups come up to stay for the week.
Okay.
From all parts of New Zealand, you might say. And so we used to host them there for the week, and they used to travel out up to Cape Reinga, Waitangi, and all those areas that they come on school trips for. So we used to be there to awhi and help them. So, it sort of grew on me to just awhi people that use the marae, and, very passionate about that and making sure that they're comfortable. In the same process, sort of showing, especially school groups, I suppose, how to fit into a marae and to make it work for everyone, So I'm not saying that I was responsible for teaching kids, but being a school teacher myself, and I used to take up my class, who eventually became my kapahaka group for here. We were under Moeroa School, and then because we involved other kids from Moeroa and round about that, we changed the name of Moeroa, the group's name, to Moeroa to Matawhaurua.
Okay.
And so we started that, and it was to make the kids, I suppose, that didn't attend Moeroa School from, say, like Otiria or Kaukaua, that wanted to join the group, because we found there was a bit of, not distrust, but a couple of parents who had their children come, they felt more comfortable if the name wasn't Moeroa because they went to another school.
Right.
So my husband took it on that, let's choose a name, and no one came up with one, so he decided to call it Matawhaurua after the canoe area, and it was a neutral name.
Yeah.
So we all belonged to it, and so hence during that time we had a person in our group that was tāniko trained, and she taught all our kids to make their own paris and everything. They did them with tāniko, not woven.
Cross-stitching.
Yeah,
Right.
They had to learn to do it with tāniko.
Oh.
So all our matawhaurua bodices and paris, and that they were all tāniko.
Wow.
And then, of course, my kids growing up with us in the group, and then when I went away to Hatahohepa and Hatapaura, we sort of started to go down and support them. Hence, we left the leadership of Matawhaurua and to the next one, the parents that were in it.
Yep.
And it survived. We're sort of interested now to see what's happened to those, the uniform, because, like Hemoata, they were all in the group and they grew up and they made these, and they're becoming very, what's happened to our bodices and that, which I think sentimental, they didn't actually belong to anybody. It was, they made them themselves. They were taught how to make them. So, that is another issue. However, we carried on and, for entertainment, and then we used to go down to Waitangi and perform there on Waitangi Day. Yeah, and, life just went on. So those kids that were in my room at the time, and I used to take them to the marae to set it up for other school groups or everything, and I guess that's how we started to go around Tai Tokerau and stay at different marae and form the Tai Tokerau culture group, or kapahaka group as they called it, you know, and that included Motuti, Muri Whenua, and I think it was Parahaki at the time, not the modern name now, but the group that came from Whangarei was Parahaki, and it was our Moerewa group, and then there was one from Kaikohe. I just can't think of the name, but...
Not Te Rongopai.
Te Rongopai. And, you know, we all joined up and that became the Tai Tokerau group, or culture kapahaka group, you know, because from way back they always used to involve the group that won Polynesian Festival to perform at Waitangi, and then
Sure.
Hector Busby and Hilden, we just decided, well, it's about time that Tai Tokerau, you know, took over in their own area and did performance. So we started to perform there on Waitangi Day as a whole of Tai Tokerau group, you know. And we used to go around many marae up to Te Kao and Waimirirangi and out to Mitimiti and all those areas, learn our songs, and then go back to your own clubs and pick them up and all, you know. I think we used to meet about once, I'm not sure whether it was once a month or every second month, to come together as a Tai Tokerau group.
Yep.
So imagine, you know, there was 200 or 300 of us staying on a marae at the weekend, but that was our source of learning as a whole group.
Mm.
But it was most interesting, and we became self-sufficient and set up and do all our own things, you know. Hence why you learnt how to run a marae, because that was as far, not only just waiata and haka, it was everything is performed, you know. So for me, that was the greatest learning situations that people are exposed to, from, you know, peeling liwai to go and do everything else. So I think it was efficiently done because everyone was involved. And it's really nice to see nowadays those young people coming forward in different whānau groups and having to learn to get involved and run their own hui, rather than us used to, as the trustees and the marae committee, having to go there every time there was a group, and they could go from, you know, day one, and then the next one comes in, and you were continually up there all the time providing for them.
Yep.
So, you know, the learning thing for me was they learned along the way to be self-sufficient. That's basically some of the korero for there. And, you know, the learning processes from after that, from wānanga stuff, well, we'd go and have one to learn how to karanga and all that. That was all done during our sessions of wānanga over the weekends at different marae.
Aye.
But it was involvement of everybody, from learning how to respect the marae and themselves in the way in which they performed and everything. You know, I think all those learning things they were given the opportunity to do that.
Oh, absolutely. And what beautiful memories, considering.
Oh, yes, and as I say, we learned to do everything. Just sort of that one, going back to the carvers, well, George Waititi, or Hori Waititi, and Tukaki, his son, were involved to complete the Tumatauenga carving that I know. And the local people were involved in painting and doing the tukutuku work for Tumatauenga, as far as I know. But I wasn't there, I was just in the kitchen.
Oh, kapai, and that's just as important.
Oh, yes.
Before we wrap up our kōrero, is there anything finally you want to share to your whanaunga who are listening?
It'll be lovely to have whānau come home and realise that, you know, our marae is their marae, and awhi at the best of times, and to come home and, well, feel the warmth of being connected to a marae that they know. and don't sort of just leave it for one-off or a tangi or something that brings them home.
Aye.
You know, as if they are Ngāti Hine and they are attached to the marae, is the support of just being seen and you know, being home sometimes. Don't just sort of wait until, you know, there's a desperate occasion that they have to come home.
Kia ora.
Yeah. And, you know, it'll be lovely to see them because then they come in and now, who's your whānau? And, oh, yeah, and then they, you know, all of a sudden want to learn all about it in one phase, whereas if you came back regularly and just to, you know, be there, awhi, and be part of it, they'll find a different warmth of a marae and how it, you know, it's there for everyone. And it'd be lovely to see our own whānau that is their marae come home and be with us sometimes.
Kia ora. Nā wā mihi ana ki a koe whaia for joining us I runga I te whakāturanga. And
Kia ora.
Koia rā tērā whakāturanga o Pukepuke Rau mō tēnei wiki he mea motu hake. Hei tohu whakamahara ki ua tātou nei hoia o tātou tupuna i mate ai i roto i ngā pakanga o te ao. Kia mau mahara tonu tātou, kia rātou. Mai ngā awa. Ki ngā moana. Ki te whenua. Ki ngā kāinga. Ki ngā tāngata. Tai atu ki ngā tihitapu o ngā maunga. Tēnei, a Pukepuke Rau, Puke Rau, Puke Rau.